Hello, I'm Sky Matsuhashi, founder of SmartPokerStudy.com, the place for poker players who are always striving to be better today than they were yesterday. Poker people, make sure you check out episode 38, where I taught you how to spot the leak of losing too much in the blinds, and I gave you 6 steps to start plugging this leak. Hey, poker people, what a fantastic Tuesday. It's nice and sunny here in California. It was raining like a mug this past weekend, and the storms are coming back again tomorrow. But for today, it is nice and beautiful. Oh, and speaking of that prior leak plugging episode I just mentioned, in my internet travels, I found a really good thread over there at pokervip.com that was all about small blind and big blind defense. The thread itself started off like the usual, one guy asking a question about his defending ranges, but then 9 entries into the post, a German player with the screen name Erotic Jesus, and with a name like Erotic Jesus, you know he's good, he came in with an epic post about big blind defending ranges and what to consider. He followed it up with a great post about small blind considerations the very next day. So you've got to check this out if you're at all interested in working on your blind defense game and plugging that leak if it is a leak of yours. You'll find a link to the forum thread in today's show notes at smartpokerstudy.com/pod42. Oh, hey, episode 42. You know what that is, right? 42 is the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything. And of course, that's from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, for those not in the know. And that is such a great book. I recommend picking it up if you like sci-fi and kind of irreverent humor. I read it like a million years ago, and I may have to read it again now that I've just thought about it, Oh, and make sure you stay tuned for the end of the podcast, because I've got a special deal just for my listeners. You won't want to miss it. Okay, on to the pokers. This is the 4th leak plugging podcast in a series of them, all covering leaks sent in by you. If you've got leaks you'd like me to address, send them on in. Today's leak is one I'm sure lots of you have, and it's about not studying like we all know we should. And as an added bonus, I've created a special leak plugging PDF that will be updated as each new episode in this series is posted. I've got the first 4 leaks on it now, and it gives a quick description of the leak, how to spot it, the major steps to fixing it, and how to exploit this leak in others. And it's 1 leak per page, so right now it's a 4-page PDF. Make sure you hit the show notes page at smartpokerstudy.com/pod42 to download your own copy of the leak plugging PDF and to follow along with everything today. Now here it is, today's podcast mission. My mission for today is to show you how you can get beyond your poker study apathy and build daily study as a habit into your routine. Okay, so today's leak comes via email from Dom. Hello, Sky. My leaks I'd like to address is studying, making time, and effective study. I have listened to your podcast, and I'm going to start a poker journal. Another leak for me happens in MTTs, and when I'm the big stack and deep, say the last 18 players, and I'm not sure what to do. What should I open versus the 10 to 15 BB stacks, and what do I do versus a shove? And versus a call, what do I do on the flop? Do I c-bet? Dom. Alrighty, well, thank you for sending this in, Dom. I really appreciate it. You mentioned 2 leaks here, but today I'll just discuss the first one. And later this week, I'll give you a bonus episode covering the second leak that you asked about, so be on the lookout for that. On to this first leak, which I'm calling Poker Study Apathy. So a little question for you. Why is it that we often find it difficult to study? My own answer is I think it's because there's no immediate gratification in studying, and we are all about instant gratification. Reading a book now is gratifying, watching a movie now is gratifying, cleaning the kitchen now is gratifying, and playing poker now is gratifying. But study? It can take a long time for the benefits of study to really kick in. Instant gratification leads to enjoyment in whatever it is that we're doing. And just imagine, if you liked to study, you would do it all the time, right? And I can hear your answers now. Shit, yeah, I would. Well, I know you want to study, and I know that you know the importance of it, and heck, that's why you're listening to this podcast in the first place. So I won't dive into why you should study. That won't help you at all. You already know why. So let me say something that might make a difference and get you to study. We make time for the things we want to do. I know you're busy and you have a zillion balls in the air at any one time. But did you skip dinner last night because you were busy? Did you skip your shower today, yesterday, and the day before because you were too busy? Did you forgo taking your kids to a movie because you were busy? Did you skip that night out with your buds at the bar because you were busy? No, you wanted to do those things, so you made the time, you found the time, you fit them into your day, Poker study needs to fall within that same category of your life, that category that I call stuff I want to do. So how do we get poker study within that category? The answer is motivation. I don't know what motivates you to study, so I'll just tell you what motivates me, and I'm sure some of these will be applicable to you and can help you find your own motivation. My first motivation is I want to win. And man, do I want to win. I know that study and improving my game will give me an edge over my opponents, which will allow me to win more. And some people also have a desire to not lose, which is kind of similar, but not exactly the same as wanting to win. I remember a movie with Tom Selleck called Mr. Baseball. One of my favorite movies of all time. It's kind of a kitschy 80s, maybe early 90s movie, but it's a lot of fun and I really like it a lot. But in it, Tom's an aging baseball player who's in a slump and he gets sold to a Japanese professional team. He explains at one point in the movie, during a kind of a sexy bathtub scene, when his slump began, he said,
"Tell me, what is the deepest fear? We will wash it away."
My deepest fear?
Yes.
Well, we were at Boston. We're down 3-1 and I'm walking up to the plate, there's 2 men on. And somebody yells, "Hey, Jack, come on, park it." And I heard him. And I'm ready, I'm just standing there staring at my bat like I do, And I remember at that exact moment thinking, don't miss. Just don't miss. My whole life, I wanted to hit the ball, and all of a sudden I'm trying not to miss.
Now, that really has stuck with me, and I've used it ever since. It's kind of like a mantra of mine. I will hit. I will hit. You can learn a lot from movies, and now in poker, I don't really say, I will hit, I will hit. I say to myself, I will win. I want to win. I try to stay away from those thoughts like, I don't want to lose. I don't want these pocket aces cracked. I try to stay away from those negative thoughts, and I hit those positive thoughts like, I want to win. I will extract value with these pocket kings, those kinds of things. My next motivation to study is seeing the benefits. And I remember the first time I created a 3-bet range for cash games. I finally felt like I had things under control. I knew what hands I would, 3-bet for value and which I would 3-bet bluff with. I no longer had to waste time thinking, what am I going to do with this ace-10 suited? Is it good enough to 3-bet? That major benefit from studying 3-bets, saving myself time and the mental work of considering each hand I'm dealt, made the study totally worth it. If you keep these kinds of instances in mind and know that eventually this study will pay off, you'll be motivated to keep on keeping on. My next motivation is simply having a list of weaknesses. So for me, having a list of weaknesses to fix is a big motivator. And I spoke about having a list of weaknesses back in episode 16 if you missed that one. So go back and listen to it. But a list of weaknesses is like having a daily to-do list. It feels great each time you complete a task and cross it off your list. Having a list of weaknesses does the same thing. When I finally crossed off the weakness of learn your SNG HUD, that felt like a major accomplishment. So please revisit that past episode number 16, make your own list of weaknesses, then see for yourself how good it feels to knock them off one at a time. My next motivation, and this is a big one with me right now, is studying with others. And I think accountability is a great motivator. I touched on accountability way back in episode 2 about smart poker goals, and I've mentioned it a few times since. But accountability is being responsible to commitments made to yourself and to others. I'm involved in 2 different study groups, and letting these guys down is one thing that pushes me to study. The fact that we're going to cover a specific topic or a video or an article in our next session spurs me to read and study it, watch the video, whatever the case is, it spurs me to be fully prepared. I've got to bring my A game to each study session, or else I feel like I've wasted my study partner's time. I've let them down. I recommend getting involved in a study group, and you can start that by joining with other Smart Poker Study listeners in our Facebook group at smartpokerstudy.com/discuss. Come join us, make some poker friends, create a study group, and help each other improve. The next big motivator for me is scheduling it into my day. Things that get scheduled get done. I've scheduled daily study time for myself from 5:30 every morning until 6:30 when my boys wake up. I start my day with study because if I wait too long, I know I won't study at all. Once 2 p.m. rolls around, I find it super difficult to crack open the proverbial books. All right, and the last thing that I use to motivate myself is I have developed study as a habit in my life. And this is actually the biggest thing that's helped me to keep studying. I built it as a habit by doing a 30-day challenge, then I continued it for another 30 days. With that in mind, I've created a 30-day study challenge tracker for you. You can get a copy of this in the show notes along with the leak plugging PDF. So regarding that 30-day study challenge, go and pause the podcast right now, go online, get the challenge tracker, then download it, and then come back to me. All right, you're back. Let's do this. So for the 30-day study challenge tracker, I've made it really easy for you to use and create a plan. Now, this isn't designed for you to make vast improvements in your game, to fix leaks, or to become a poker master. This challenge is designed for you to develop study as a habit using some simple study techniques. The key is to create your plan, commit to it, then work the plan, doing it every single day for 30 days straight, and there's 5 parts to this challenge. Part number 1, you'll choose 6 topics to study. It can be opening ranges, c-betting, 3-betting, push-fold game, bubble play, and heads-up play. Whatever 6 topics you want to study is what you'll plan your studies around. Part 2 of the challenge is each topic will be studied for 5 days. So 5 times 6 is the full 30 days. You'll do the same basic tasks on each day for each topic. For example, day 1 for each topic is watch a training video related to the topic from a source of your choosing. So let's say you're going to study c-betting, for example. You're going to watch a c-betting video from YouTube, from Tournament Poker Edge, from Poker VIP, wherever you want to get it from is where you're going to watch your video from. Day 2 is you're going to read 2 articles related to the topic from a source of your choosing. So those can be any 2 topics on c-betting from any source at all. Ante-Up Magazine, Bluff.com, whatever, On day 3, you're going to do 1 hour of hand history review with proper filters related to the topic. And of course, during the hand history review, you'll review hands specifically filtered for the topic you're studying. So for example, c-betting, well, you're going to filter for c-bet hands, or at a minimum, you're going to filter for c-bet opportunities and dissect why you did and why you didn't c-bet on certain hands. So use whatever software to help your analysis. If there's a software that you don't know yet, but want to learn and it'll help you doing your, for example, c-bet analysis, this could be one of your topics for the 5 days of study. Let's say you don't know anything about Flopzilla yet. Well, before you get to the c-betting, before you get to flop texture stuff, before you get to river betting, go ahead and learn that Flopzilla. Treat this as one of your topics and study it for 5 days. So that was day 3. Day 4 is watch 30 minutes of game tape and do 30 minutes of hand history review. Day 5 is the same. Watch 30 minutes of game tape again and do 30 minutes of a hand history review. So you can see these 5 days are actually pretty simple, very, very basic ways to study. It shouldn't be too difficult for anybody to do, the beginning poker player or the long-term poker player. Remember, this whole challenge is was created to instill study as a habit in your life. I'm not teaching you the best ways to study. I'm getting you to study for 30 days in a row straight to build it as a habit. All right, so that The whole thing I just said was part 2 of the 30-day challenge. Part 3 is you'll take notes on all you've learned throughout the 5 days. And, it ends up being the 30 days, of course, but on the 5 days per topic. And during each session as you play, you'll have a focus on the topic at hand. So basically, you're taking notes, recording everything because you're dealing with seabeding, for example, as your topic. All your notes will be related to what you're learning for seabeding right there, Part 4 of the plan or of the 30-day challenge, each play session you'll record 30 minutes of game tape. And if you remember, I covered game tape way back in episode 11, so go back and listen to that. One of the great things about recording game tape, and actually one of my students recently just told me that he experiences, he said that it's just by pushing record, even if nobody will ever see the game tape except for you don't want to let your viewers quote unquote down, and you automatically play more focused in the session just by hitting record. You'll play these sessions with your current study topic at top of mind and have your notes out in front of you as you play for quick reference. So that's part 4. And then part 5, at the very end of each 5 days, you'll summarize everything you learned on one page for future reference. You'll keep all the notes you've made up to this point, but this summary is like a one sheet with all the most important info you've gathered over the 5 days. If you had to, this one-page summary could be like a blog post about the topic. It's everything that you know on the topic. So by the end of the 30 days, you'll have 6 of these one-page summaries that you'll take with you for the rest of your poker career. All right, so I kind of already said it, but you can see that watching one video, reading some articles, and playing with focus won't make you a seabeding wizard, but you'll have a plan outlined for study, and having a plan makes it easier to study because you know exactly what you're doing for that day, and you'll be less likely to skip it, of course. Remember, this challenge is all about building study as a habit into our lives, not to become a master at any given topic. That will come later after you're already a poker study lover. Now, the other part of Dom's study leak was doing effective study. Now, that is kind of beyond the scope of this podcast because really, effective study varies with each topic studied, but I can tell you a few things here. Everything you do leads to more doing. Experiences accumulate, and the more accomplishments you have, the more you think you can do, so the more you take on, and the more you end up accomplishing. It's a benevolent cycle, not a vicious cycle, So if you have no idea how to study a topic, that's completely fine. Start with videos and articles. The coaches there will show you how they study. Did they whip out Flopzilla or Card Runners EV or, maybe Splice or something like that? Slice, I mean. Take notes on this, get the program, and start practicing on your own. Did they reference a HUD and you don't use one yet? Then get one, Poker Tracker 4, of course, and start practicing. Did they mention certain statistics that you've never heard of? So start researching and learn more. So like I just said, experiences accumulate, and the more you do, the more you'll be able to do. So start studying now, and your study skills will build over time. Now for the final part of this, what can derail your studies? There are 3 things that really can derail your studies. Number 1 is no plan, or having no plan. Plans are no-brainers, and they're easy to follow. I hate Christmas shopping without a list. I go to the mall and wander around hoping to find inspiration. It's so much better when I know the gift I want. I head into Victoria's Secret. I find the perfect negligee. I stare at the pictures on the wall a little bit, the ladies walking around. I check my hidden camera and make sure it's recording the changing rooms. Then I leave with the perfect gift in my arm, not wasting any time or any window shopping. That's the way I like it. Have a plan, get in, get out. The second thing that can derail your studies is having no schedule. You've got to plan when you'll study. I'm sure dinner's every night at 6 p.m. You always leave for work at 7:30, and The Bachelor's on tonight at 8 p.m. Failing to schedule your study time will lead to no studying at all that day. And the third thing that can derail your studying is the shiny object syndrome. It's so easy to get distracted by that new split suit video or an article on Poker News, Don't let that happen. You plan to study 3-betting today, so ignore everything else. Bookmark whatever it is that you found, bookmark it for later, Evernote it, whatever you gotta do, but just don't get distracted by it. And here's something, it might be a little distracting. You might be studying something else right now. But as a fortuitous coincidence, Alex Fitzgerald, an awesome MTT coach, is coming out with a new webinar next Saturday, March 12th, and he's called it The Professional's Mindset. He'll discuss the optimal style for growth and financial success in today's game, study methods he recommends and has seen great results from, and even a way to simulate 1,000 hours of study time in 1 hour. So, and I can't even, that's hard for me to believe, but I know Alex Fitzgerald, he ain't a liar or anything. So I'm really looking forward to this webinar and I cannot wait for it. And I hope to see you there with me as well. You can find a link to sign up for the webinar at smartpokerstudy.com/TPM for the professional's mindset, of course, but it's just smartpokerstudy.com/TPM, or just click the link in the show notes. Challenge! Here's my challenge to you for this episode. Get your butt in gear and develop study as a habit in your life. Get the 30-day challenge, study challenge tracker, select 6 topics, plan out the 30 days, then work the plan. I guarantee you'll be a better player for it. Now it's your turn to take action and Scooby-Dooby-Doo something positive for your poker game.
Do it! Just do it! Make your dreams come true! Do it! Just do it! Do it!
Alright, to recap the episode, we talked all about fixing the leak of poker study apathy. I told you the things that motivate me to study and how I built study as a habit in my life, and I gave you an awesome 30-day study challenge tracker to get it done for yourself, to build that habit for yourself. Please go to the show notes at smartpokerstudy.com/pod42 for everything mentioned here. And make sure while you're there, you pick up the leak plugging PDF and the 30-day study challenge tracker while you're there. Alrighty, you've heard me mention America's Card Room plenty of times. Well, I have a special deal for you. Anyone who signs up for an ACR account through me gets 27% rake back. This is a great deal that I hope you don't pass up. And once I get 10 people signed up under me, I can start offering free rolls exclusive to my listeners. I want to do a weekly free roll where we can all play together, have some fun, shoot the shit, and hopefully win a little moolah. Just click my ACR banner near the top of every show notes page. Download the software, create an account, make a first deposit, and get the 100% bonus up to $1,000. Then start playing with me. My screen name is Frisky Misky. I'll be honest, I mostly ignore the chat, so I might not know that you know me. But come try to take my money at the 10, 25, and 50 NL tables. Thank you so much for listening today, and if you like this leak plugging series, please send me any leak you are suffering from, and I may just do a podcast on it. The more people that send in about the same leak, the more likely I'll be to cover it. Also, I love feedback. Hit me with it through the show notes, or you can also send an email to sky@smartpokerstudy.com, tweet me at smartpokerstudy, or post in the Facebook group at smartpokerstudy.com/discuss. And please send me your questions, your leaks, or ideas for podcast topics through all the channels just mentioned. Alrighty, poker people, be sure to come back for the bonus episode number 43, where I will help Dom with another one of his leaks, deep MTT play when everyone else is short-stacked. Word of mouth is the best advertising, and a recommendation from you to your friends would be most appreciated. If you enjoyed our time together and learned a little something, please share it with your lovely nanny. Until next time, study smart, play much, and make your next session the best one yet.